Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. On the agenda this week, I am talking about some benefits of carb cycling. So how that works in your calories, in your macros. I also talk about whether or not you should eat more on training days compared to non-training days. And also I'll clear up some of the myths that you may have heard in this space before and show you what I personally do as well as what works and what doesn't. So you may have heard before that calorie cycling or carb cycling can help increase your rate of fat loss. So now here is the time for some truth. So calorie cycling and carb cycling alone does not have a direct correlation to fat loss. There is a way to use this to help your journey and add value, but it won't directly speed up your fat loss. I get a lot of questions asking my personal opinion from people that are looking at making small tweaks to their nutrition, and when I ask a handful of questions back to understand where they're currently at, very often people don't actually have the basics right. So even if they do make some tweaks, or if they are correct in their assumptions around these small tweaks, they're not going to have too much of an impact due to the poor foundation. So outside of this area, there are some benefits to cycling the amount of calories that you eat and playing with the macros to help you with adherence, okay? So the first example I'm going to use is, say that you're required to eat around 2,000 calories a day, which will equate to roughly 14,000 calories over the course of the week. I laugh because I'm terrible at maths. Now, let's say that you go out on the weekend and you eat with your friend and you unintentionally or maybe intentionally eat 3,000 calories Saturday. By the time you have a glass of wine and a burger, if that's your jam, whatever it might be. Now, there's two problems. One is that you've eaten 1,000 calories over your planned intake. So there's obviously going to be some impact from that. But just as importantly, at number two is the hugely increased risk that you're now likely to feel guilty leading to overeating and binging, or whatever you want to call it, the following day, which is quite common. Now, you know, you get that feeling of, well, stuff it, I've already eaten over my calorie budget, so I might as well, you know, keep going. It's really dangerous waters to be in, and it's a super hard habit to break for a lot of ladies. So what could you do in a situation like this? Firstly, plan ahead. Now, I know this isn't always doable, but if you know you've got a dinner coming up or an event or whatever it might be, you could calorie cycle leading up to it. So using 2,000 calories again as your calorie budget with an event on Saturday night, Monday through to Friday, you'll be eating 1,833 calories, whatever that equates to. Then Saturday, plan for 3,000 calories. So there should be plenty of room for dinner, dessert, drinks, or just drinks. I don't recommend that, just FYI. But, and then Sunday, you're back to 1,833. And then the following Monday, you're back to 2,000, which is back to normal. So for the course of the week, you've still eaten your 14,000 calories. You're not risking self-sabotage or binge eating, and you've successfully used calorie cycling to move you further towards your goal, which might be fat loss or muscle building or whatever it might be. Okay, so next up, you've got calorie intake on training days versus non-training days. Now, a lot of people ask whether or not that they should be eating more on training days or less on non-training days. And my answer is no. Your body is essentially growing on your rest days. So it's actually repairing and rebuilding and will require nutrients to do so. It makes sense. So no, I personally don't like to reduce calories on your non-training days. The exception to this, and I'm talking exception because I don't specialize in it, maybe for physique or bikini competitors, okay? Now, macronutrient cycling, aka carb cycling, or low carb, high carb days, whatever you refer to it as, there's a lot of false information out there around the potential benefits of it. So to be clear, there are benefits. They are just very often misquoted or wrongly explained. One of the things that I see regularly is that carb cycling is what you should be doing to change your body composition, which is not the case. What it does is represent closer to a normal way of life. Realistically, you're not going to be eating the same amount of carbs or fats day in, day out 7 days a week for the rest of your life. Cycling your carbs is going to enable you to become more in tune with your body and how it responds differently to these macronutrients. For example, eating high fat for most people isn't as exciting as high carbs. But there are benefits to high fat, like feeling more full and having more energy. I personally eat high fat on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and I eat high carb on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday, I intuitively eat. Now, I would recommend to just about anyone to trial a high fat day or a series of high fat days. No, it doesn't mean you're going to get fat, but your whole weekly nutrition plan should factor it in. And don't mistake high fat for high calorie. If you would normally eat 2,000 calories, you're still going to consume the same 2,000 calories, but your breakup of fats, carbs, and protein, maybe not so much protein, but basically fats and carbs will be different on these days. Now, it won't be quite as high as, say, keto, but probably somewhere around 50% or maybe a little bit more. Admittedly, I personally don't look forward to high fat days at all in the days leading up to it. But when I start, almost straight away, I notice that I'm not hungry. That's probably one of the biggest things that I notice. My mental clarity is a lot stronger. I've got loads more energy, particularly on those days. Now, I'm 100% more focused and will purposely actually schedule tasks on those days that I know that I have to be really, really focused on. So cravings are also non-existent on these days, and you know how you get, or some people get afternoon yawns, they're not there. There's no 3 o'clock itis, which are all the things that you often hear people that are on or conform to a keto diet report as feeling. Now, I personally eat over 2,000 calories now, so on high fat days, it works out to be about 115 grams of fat and 100 grams of carbs. And on low fat days, this looks more like 85 grams of fat and 210 grams of carbs. Now, please keep in mind that every single person is different, and it does depend on which direction you're heading in, your own personal circumstances, your body. There's a lot more to this picture, so don't take these numbers and adopt them without speaking to someone first to make sure that they fit your goals. Now, to wrap it up, carb cycling isn't magic. It doesn't make your body burn fat quicker, but it is a tool that you can use and program into your nutrition to help, you know, gain value in other areas that may eventually all lead up to fat loss. So calorie cycling is the same. There's no direct correlation to fat loss, but it's a fantastic tool if you struggle with calorie adherence in some cases. And also there's a pressure release, if you understand what I mean, if you're getting sick of the same calories day in, day out. So it's really cool to see how your body performs on those different fuels as well. That was one of the biggest things that I realized, that mental clarity when I eat high fat. Had I not tried it, I would never have known. It's absolutely at the end of the day about sustainability though. We're not robots. If we were robots and we could stick to, I don't know, 1,100 calories a day forever, then it would be a different story. But there's a reason that over 90% of diets fail. We need to make sure that you're doing something now that you can maintain. A really good way to look at it is ask yourself if you can see yourself doing this in a year. And if not, the chances of success would be less than 10%. Guys, if you would like to learn more about what I do, what I've spoken about, shoot me a DM over on Instagram. I'm going to attach my link to my page below. I teach girls a heap more of this information, but you know, all about training and all about their diet, everything that they need to know so that they're not having that lost feeling. All of this through my one-on-one coaching. There's also a group program that I've recently developed, which is having fantastic success as well. But until next week, guys, have a great weekend. And if you've got any questions that you'd like me to answer personally or on here, please reach out to me. My email address is hello@ashlane.com.au.